Welcome, everyone. We are very excited to be speaking with you today as our 2021 through 23 engagement ambassadors. This is our first meeting with you pre-2021 staff engagement survey. We're going to cover quite a bit today, but the session is being recorded and you will also receive the slide deck. So that you can go back and reference all of the great stuff that we're going to be talking about today. This is our first ever enterprise-wide meeting, and we have done always separate kickoff meetings for our campus and our medical center teams. But we thought that we'll try this a different way this year. Virtual meeting, enterprise-wide, let everybody sort of see who the other ambassadors are and get you all started with the same foundation. I've got two people that I wanted to introduce. We have Pamela James with us today. She is the Executive Director for Campus HR. And we also have Michelle Quint, who's Executive Director for UCI Health HR. I see that Michelle's back on. So Michelle, if you can go ahead and just say a few words, give us a welcome, and then if you can turn it over to Pamela, that would be great. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Kathy. Again, I'm Michelle Quint. I am the Executive Director for UCI Health Human Resources, and I'm here with my colleague, Pamela James, who is the Executive Director for UCI Campus Human Resources. I want to thank everyone for giving us the time to out of your very busy day to talk with you about the staff engagement ambassador program. And as a kickoff to this and the staff engagement survey, it's one of my favorites, this particular event, because it provides us the opportunity to celebrate you, our engagement ambassadors who have done so much for our organization. So welcome to the 2021 Staff Engagement Ambassador Kickoff event. Today is about welcoming you to this special team. You're charged with such an important task to help us improve our engagement here at UCI. The program has grown far beyond just you guys helping us with the staff engagement survey. We have programs running throughout the year under the umbrella of staff engagement that you are key in championing and supporting. We have the Staff Service Awards, the Staff Appreciation Week, Bright People, Brilliant Solutions. At UCI Health, we have the Arise Awards, holiday lunches, hospital week, staff picnic, just to name a few. And so we really thank you for your hard work. Your commitment and dedication to your role as an ambassador helps us build a more engaged UCI. And with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Pamela.
Michelle and Kathy. As Michelle said, I'm Pamela James. I'm Executive Director for Campus Resources. Basically, on Monday, August 9th, we launched our third enterprise-wide staff engagement survey. Now, those of you on the Med Center side are used to the staff engagement survey. You've been doing it longer than that. But for the entire end of UCI Campus and Health, this is our third time. It's really an important measure of current staff engagement, especially in this unprecedented time. You know, after almost 18 months of COVID, it's more important than ever for our leaders to keep a really close pulse on how our employees are feeling and how they're doing. As we transition to a hybrid workforce model, it's really timely for our leaders to have access to current engagement data and insights from their staff. They'll be able to use that data to understand any changes in engagement since the last survey. Things were way different 2 years ago. And then develop strategies and communications to improve engagement as we transition back to on-site and hybrid models of work. Employee opinions really matter here. Leadership is listening. They're making changes based upon employee input. So please, let's not let any employee miss out on this great opportunity to be heard. By championing and encouraging your coworkers to complete the survey, you, ambassadors, are helping to ensure a better UCI experience. So we're so thrilled that you have agreed to be an engagement ambassador. We know it's a big commitment and it's a 2-year tenure. It's really a vital and important job. It kicks off with the survey, but the work will continue throughout the years. So now I'll hand it back to Kathy for some additional details.
Thank you so much, Michelle and Pamela. I actually feel your enthusiasm and passion, so that's terrific. Also, Ramona Agrella wanted to be with us today. Unfortunately, her schedule is pretty hectic with all of the COVID policy issues going on and the myriad of other programs and initiatives. So she has sent her apologies, but we will have some Zot mails coming out from her for the engagement survey. And please know that she also is very appreciative of the time that you all are dedicating to your role. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and get started with our presentation today. This is the message. It's the staff engagement survey, and the opinion of staff matters. We really want them to take the survey, and we need your help to do that. Next slide. So this is the engagement team list, and I just wanted to do this to show you that there is a kind of a team of people behind this survey. It's not just the few of us that you'll see on this call, but we also have our HRIS team, Stephen, Maria, Mike, and Brian, who work behind the scenes mostly with us in pulling the database that we use to administer the survey. It's no small task, and they have done a tremendous job in preparing the database for this year. It's really our chance every other year to look at the total organizational structure and ensure that reporting is correct, and that who's reporting to who is all aligned. We have anomalies that we fix. There are hundreds of those every time. So they've done a fantastic job. I just wanted to give them a shout out and thank them for that. We have a group from Gallup, our third-party partner, who is the team that administers the survey for us. Gallup is a well-known name, of course, and they have been doing this for what I'll just call eons, and they know their stuff. So we're in very good hands. Ramona is our executive sponsor, and we have the really enthusiastic backing of the chancellor, his entire cabinet, Chad Lefteris, our CEO, and all of the CEO cabinet, as well as leadership at Health Sciences, Dr. Goldstein and Dr. Stamos, and some of the other leaders there. So this has the backing, so you will get the support that you need. Next slide. So the contact information is here for the core team that will be supporting you throughout your efforts. So many of you may not know, I am Catherine Hills. I'm the engagement lead across the enterprise. For campus, we have Diane Hall and Lyra Islam. The team there, they are available. You can call either one. Just a tremendous set of resources that are being developed by Diane, Lyra, and Gretel, who is our engagement lead for UCI Health. She handles both health sciences and the medical center. And then we have Joshua Macias, who's UCI engagement coordinator across the enterprise. So you'll see Josh involved in a lot of what we're going to be doing with promotions and database accessing and things like that. So this is your team. You will get these slides. You don't have to write that all down, but just reach out whenever you need us. Next slide, please. So let's talk about engagement. Some of you have returned to us, and we're very grateful for that. There's also a lot of new faces. And so just want to make sure we all have the same foundation. So what is engagement? You can read the 3 items that I've listed there, but it's an emotional commitment. We want people to care about being at UCI. We want them to be proud of being a staff member here. Discretionary effort, I'm going to do a really quick exercise. If everybody could please humor me for a moment and really do this, okay, because I'm kind of watching. So if you could just raise your hand as high as you possibly can for me and leave it in the air. Okay, higher. I can see some of you. So now, if you can raise it just a little bit more for me, just a little bit more. That extra effort that you just put forth is called discretionary effort. And people do that because they want to do it, not because they have to do it. Okay, you kind of had to do it because I was doing an exercise, but you get the general idea of this. And so that little bit of extra is what we're hoping that staff will be willing to put forth for the good of the organization. Engagement also drives an organization's culture. So you can imagine the difference between an organization that is, filled with people who are disengaged versus filled with people who are engaged. Much different, right? So engagement also matters at the organizational and individual levels. So it's not just about UCI, it's about you. And you can see a lot of our stats right there. Many of you have seen them before. We have less absenteeism with engaged employees. We have fewer safety incidents. But for the individuals, it's lower levels of stress, bad cholesterol, anxiety, and depression. I mean, all really great things. So this is something that works at many different levels, just being engaged. If I could just request, if anybody raised the hand in the chat, or the emotions or reactions or whatever they're called down there, you can unraise them, and that way I'll be able to see if anybody has a question. So I'm going to take a quick second. Does anybody have a question about what engagement is or why it matters before I move on? Okay, next slide, please. All right, so 2019, that was the last time we took the survey. And so that you all know, the top level score in an engagement survey is 5. So where do we stand? You can see the numbers there. In 2019, UCI overall was at a score of 3.85 out of 5. We had increased over 2017, and it's good. It's a good number, not too bad, but we have ways to go. I'm secretly hoping that we're going to get close to 4 this year. We had 76% participation. We had about 10,000 staff members invited to take the survey. That means we got close to 3/4 of everyone taking it, which is terrific. That's a great participation result. Next slide, please. And then we have the a second number that's important for us to look at with our results. It's called the engagement ratio, and it takes 5.
I think we lost Kathy.
Uh-oh.
I usually think it's me, and I'm like, wait, is it me? Is it me? So we lost Kathy. Hopefully she'll call back in, and we'll be able to pick this up. But I'll pick up where she left off with the fact that
I don't know. I got kicked
Oh,
out.
there you
but I
are.
think I'm back now.
There you are. Good.
Okay.
That was
Oh, yeah.
super strange. It's never happened before. I don't know what the last thing anybody
You were
heard.
saying it takes 5 employees to
5 to 1. So yes, 5 engaged employees, thank you, Gretel, to offset the damage done by 1 actively disengaged person. So that's not, it's a big number, and we need to get there. We're at 2.7 to 1. So I'm really hoping that we get to 3 in this next survey. Next slide, please. So what were our areas of takeaway in 2019? When we took the survey, we had no idea COVID was coming. So in January, we were on our merry way, strategizing over what we were going to do with the survey results from 2019 and put them into action in 2020. And we found 2 areas of opportunity and 2 areas of strength. We take the results from the staff engagement survey, we combine those with the results from the culture of safety survey, which is administered at the health center. And then we combine that further with the CUCSA, the UCOP randomized staff engagement survey. So some of you may or may not have ever seen that before, but we combine all 3 results and look for commonalities, and we decided that these were our areas of opportunity and strength, which you can read there. Then COVID hit, and we were at absolute stall. So we're not going to forget about these things. We're going to go ahead and look at them in context with what we learned in 2021, because these are still important items for us to focus on. So, especially that first one, voicing concerns and ideas without fear of retribution. We need our staff to be able to speak up and speak out without that hesitation. So we'll continue to look at these, and if you can, try and remember these later when you're working with your teams. Next slide, please. So what have we done with the results in 2017 and 2019? Well, some very important things that have come into fruition have been the leadership development program. We heard loud and clear from staff in 2017 that our managers and supervisors needed to be better trained. So a program has been developed. It's quite robust, and to date, over 200 managers and supervisors have been trained, and more cohorts are starting all the time. So we're about a quarter of the way into training all of our managers and supervisors, and by all accounts, they're loving it. You know, so we can't just assume people, you know, go into a manager role and already know what they're doing. So this is helping. Also, the town halls from Chancellor Gilman, that was something that was recommended by staff, and the first State of the Union address was at the 2019 Staff Service Awards. Then he has followed on, because it was such a big hit, with numerous other town halls that I'm sure many of you or most of you participated in. So that's a direct result of engagement survey. We expanded the Staff Service Awards to give greater recognition to staff. And we also have some other programs like, you know, more intimate lunch and dine with leadership programs. And then the treat cart. If you're a member from the medical center, you have seen the treat cart, no doubt. We have treat cart program planned for all 4 weeks of the survey. Each week is a different theme, so you'll see more things coming there. And then Bright People, Brilliant Solutions is what we use to actually solicit ideas from staff to solve problems and challenges. We have over 1,500 ideas submitted to date, and that is just fantastic. And more will happen all the time as we continue to use results to directly affect what staff are experiencing here at UCI. So next slide, please. So why would we survey post-pandemic? Again, you can take a look at the slide, but most importantly, surveying reminds staff that we care about them as employees and as individuals. There are questions specifically addressing, you know, that somebody cares about me where I work. We also want to make sure basic needs are being met, and we need to fill those gaps. If people don't have the right equipment, they don't have what they need, they just can't make it happen, and it's frustrating. So we're here to help fix those types of problems. And as I've mentioned before, our results are going to drive what we do over the next 2 years. And again, we have that backing of the Chancellor and our CEO. We want to take advantage of that. Next slide, please. All right, let's talk about the survey period. It opens on Monday, August 9th at 8:00 a.m. and closes technically on Friday, September 3rd at 11:59 p.m. That's 4 weeks to take the survey. And we will actually leave it open over Labor Day weekend. So Friday, September 3rd is the Friday of Labor Day weekend. We'll leave it open through Monday, Labor Day. For any stragglers, we always get last minute emails begging us, I forgot, let me take the survey. So we're happy to do that. We want the best results we can get. And so we will officially close it between all of us, because you're engagement ambassadors, that Tuesday morning, 8:00 Eastern time. So if you have someone who comes to you at the last minute and says, I need to take the survey, say, okay, you know, I'll make it happen. Just go on, click on the link. So now you guys have insider information. Next slide, please. We set our participation goal at 75%. Honestly, we have no idea how this is going to go. It's post, you know, sort of the hardcore COVID era. I know we're still in a mostly remote situation at UCI, but you know, we're hoping that people have something to say. And Gallup is seeing really good results across all vertical markets, and including higher ed and healthcare. So we think 75 is pretty safe, and you're going to be a big part of the factor of getting us to that number. Please remember that you cannot ask anyone if they have taken the survey. You cannot tell anyone to take the survey, but you can encourage and promote people to take the survey. So really important things to remember, and I'm sure Diane and Gretel will cover that in more detail. Next slide, please. So who is eligible? Career, contract, limited, partial year career, and per diem. They must have been in UC Path as of June 15th. This will probably be an important slide for you to look at later on, maybe print it and put it up. We get lots of questions about this. You probably will too. Who is not eligible is also listed there. Faculty, academic appointees, those are not eligible. And we do apply a termination file on September 1. So anybody who has terminated between June 15th and August 31st will be removed so that we don't have skewed results. So again, important slide. When you get the deck, you might want to take an extra look at that and maybe share this with your leaders in your teams as well so that they realize who's eligible and who's not. Next slide. The question set, we have the Gallup Q12, which is really 13 questions. This is really important. We have a verbatim question. It does allow the user to put in anything they want. So the survey is confidential. UCI will never know what an individual answers. But if a person decides to divulge their identity by putting in something in the verbatim that reveals who they are, that is entirely up to them. We absolutely have cases where people do that on purpose. For the most part, people try not to. But if you're asked about that, you can say yes. It verbatim will go to leadership at UCI. We also have an accountability index that asks questions about, did your supervisor share the results of the last survey? Supervisor effectiveness, how well are they doing? Change management, how well as an organization are we doing with change? And then diversity and inclusion, 3 new questions. We've changed them from 2019 with the assistance of Doug Haynes' team in our diversity, equity, and inclusion office. Then if you are part of the health group and you're in a clinical role, you'll receive additional questions, 13. There's the patient experience index, and this year, probably only, we will have a culture of patient safety index. That has been added at the request of Chad Nassim and Dr. Wilson, and it will substitute temporarily for the culture of safety survey that is normally given in the spring. It could not be administered this year, so we've added these 9 questions. It handles 70% of what we're required to ask of our clinical staff in terms of leapfrog accreditation and some of those other requirements we have as a healthcare center. So very important that if you're on the medical side, that you really help leaders find time to let staff take the survey. It will take 15 to 20 minutes for a clinical staff member to take it, maybe more like 10 to 15 minutes for a campus staff member to take it. Any questions about the survey question set or anything else I've discussed so far? Christina.
Yeah, I just have one question. How do we handle staff that don't have like a designated computer, or, you know, because I'm thinking medical center, there's a lot of employees that don't necessarily have like a set workstation or a computer. Will we have any like specific shared use computers that will have access to the survey that they can use to take it?
You are like reading our minds, or you spied on the deck in advance. I'm not
How
sure.
did you know? I got it like yesterday, so I was prepping my questions.
That's so awesome.
I'm kidding.
It is an online survey, so they can take it from anywhere. And in fact, it's open 24/7, all of those dates, and they you can take it on your mobile phone. We don't have any specific plan to make some common stations available, but if we find that that's an issue, we can certainly help solve that problem with some tablets, for example. So we'll keep an eye on that. If you hear about it, let us know. So you can take it from anywhere, and it is available in Spanish. Gallup has telephone support 24/7. So if somebody starts to take the survey and they happen to be on night shift on a Sunday and they need help, Gallup will be there to help them. So we don't have to provide that support. It's part of our contract, and I think that's really going to help everybody just have a lot of flexibility. So cool, right? All right, the next slide, please.
Kathy, really quick, there's a question in the chat box.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
It says, will ambassadors be provided with a list? Last survey, our department had a few faculty on the list.
That list has already gone through our HRBPs and our ASMs, CPOs. So the list has been vetted. If you find an anomaly like that, we will go ahead and address it, but the list of who can take the survey will not be distributed to ambassadors. That helps protect confidentiality issues, et cetera. But again, we can address anything that comes up. And we often have people who are not eligible, who try to get in to log in. And usually it's because they're not in one of our eligible categories. And you can let them know if you really think they're in the eligible category and we just missed them. Again, you're going to want to reach out to your engagement team member. Yes, and the local HRBP, Diane. Did Diane or Gretel, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I would say to that, if your HRBP is your best contact for that specific information, if you're wondering who's on the list or who's not on the list, we pull it from PATH. So it is in the payroll system and how it is set up, and they were able to vet it. So it is getting better over the years. We know it hasn't been, but we've been in PATH now for 2 years almost. So the information is getting better. If you are a direct manager of more than 4 people, you'll see you'll have that kind of information, but I think the best contact will be the HRBPs.
Gretel, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I second Diane.
Okay, excellent. So HRBPs. I was going to add something, but I don't remember what that was. Oh, I saw something in the chat come up about MDs. One thing to note, as of today, I just was talking with Dr. Wilson, and we are going to add our physicians and residents to take only the 9 questions included in the Culture of Safety survey. So they will have their own email that will go out to them with only that question set. It will be done completely separate from our primary effort of the engagement survey. So as ambassadors, you don't need to worry at the core of your responsibility regarding the physicians and the residents. There may be some other clinical type appointments. I'm not entirely sure yet. Michelle can attest to the fact that we're actually working on that today to determine who's going to be on that list. So that was a good question. So whoever answered that, I hope that helps. Whoever asked it, I hope that helps. Okay, next slide, please. I think my part's getting close to being over. We have a pre-survey timeline here where you can see that we're obviously in your engagement ambassador kickoff meeting right now. August 4th, the Zotmail will come out from Ramona Agrella, notifying everyone that the survey is coming. And then the first survey invitation email will go out from Gallup on the 9th in the morning, first thing, bright and early, 8 a.m. And then the weekly emails from Gallup go out to staff who have not yet completed the survey. Once a staff member takes the survey, they come off the list. They don't get bothered anymore. So hey, the sooner you take it, the better. That's one thing to let your team members know about. Take it and you don't get the reminders anymore. Next next slide or question.
I wanted to call out really quickly, Kathy, the the manager and supervisor kickoff meeting on the 5th is actually enterprise-wide. We forgot to update that on the slide. So I will do that before we post it. We will be targeting direct people, leaders directly via Zotmail, but that training that we'll have on August 5th will be for all managers and supervisors to help them get ready for the survey.
Yes, thanks, Diane. Yeah, we do have to update that. We decided to go big, just go enterprise. Then the post-survey timeline so that you know what happens once we take the survey. September will be used for the engagement team to evaluate the results. So we need some time to dig in, take a look, slice and dice, all that good stuff. Then probably the first week in October, we'll be presenting to both cabinets, and we'll also present to HRBPs and the HR community. Once they are trained in Gallup Access, meaning the HRBPs and HR community, and they're comfortable with the tool and how to run reports and things like that, we'll open up the results to everyone. And even individual contributors, individual staff members have access to the software called Gallup Access. It's a tool, and even individual contributors can go in and see overall UCI scores and get resources for how to improve their own engagement, or maybe if they just want to dig in a little more to ideas for improving engagement. So that will all happen. Then town hall webinars where all staff will be invited happen in November, along with HRBPs and the HR professionals doing deep dives with departments. And then my team will start with our engagement strategy in December, and we'll launch any new programmatic changes in January. It will be a continuation of the Empowered to Make a Difference program. As a reminder, that is the overall engagement program for UCI. So Empowered to Make a Difference. And we've got some materials and things like that that hopefully you've seen before, but we'll get some more ordered and get them out into everybody's hands. Next slide, please. So we're going to do communications and promos, updated web pages. You can see the new survey page over on the far right. And then we'll have Zot mails coming out, the Gallup emails, all kinds of cool stuff. We got the coasters that you can see there. We have some special materials just for you. I'm sure Diane and Gretel will go into it a bit more, but we've got a Zoom background created especially for you. And we've also got e-signature highlights that designate you as a staff, an engagement survey ambassador. And we're going to be holding a survey break on the first Friday of the survey, which is Friday the 13th. And we're encouraging everyone, all people leaders, to give their staff a chance to take the survey. Give them a 15-20 minute break, encourage them to take that break sometime in the day, or whatever their shift happens to be over at medical center or in the ambulatory units, and give them that time to just really focus on the survey for a few minutes. This will have the chancellor's backing and Chad's backing, so you'll be able to promote that soon. Other promotional activities will come along, and we'll let you know what those are as they're finalized. Next slide. And that's it for me. I'm going to turn it over now to Diane and Gretel. Are there any questions on anything that I covered regarding the general survey itself, or anything about the questions we're going to ask? Again, I wasn't checking chat, so did we answer everything? Looks like we did. Okay, Diane, Gretel, it's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Hello, everybody. My name is Gretel Olvera, and for the health side, you guys, I've been emailing with everybody back and forth, sending Outlook invites. So nice to see a lot of the names, a lot of previous names and a lot of new names as well. So I'm the engagement lead for UCI Health, and my colleagues, Diane and Leah over on campus, and I are going to go into a deeper dive in more of the sense of the Engagement Ambassador program overall now. Next slide. So the Engagement Ambassador program has become such a vital part of our organization. It's really here at UCI to help us promote, encourage engagement overall. It's becoming more and more predominant. Our team is becoming stronger in terms of the engagement side of things and what we're being allowed to do. So both programs at campus and UCI Health continue to grow and evolve in terms of overall engagement, but also just our ambassador program overall. We're seeing more participation year after year and continuous improvements overall. So thank you everybody for your time and volunteering towards the success of this program and the overall engagement at our organization. The program is a two-year commitment and the life cycle of engagement campaign, and the engagement campaign begins the survey kickoff, which is why we're starting off with this here now, and we're going to go into some more detail. So your role and your responsibilities. So it's to promote and champion engagement at UCI and UCI Health. As Kathy said, we're not allowed to ask who's taking the survey, who hasn't taken the survey, go and take the survey, but we very well can promote, champion, encourage, hand out postcards, send emails, reminders at team huddles, remind our managers, supervisors of that the survey is actively going on. So that will entail you working within your units and with your supervisor to help support and participate in engagement related events. We get really crafty and really engaged with our while during the surveys happening and going on. And so any sort of activities or creative things that you have going on, feel free to share with the teams so that other teams can also pick up on some of those. Next slide, please. So becoming an engagement ambassador doesn't only mean you're an ambassador during the time of the Gallup survey. This is something that we really want participation for year round. And so we have engagement related employee recognition programs throughout the year. So the survey, the staff engagement survey does kick it off. And so this is where we begin our work as engagement ambassadors, but there's plenty of different opportunities throughout the year to continue to drive engagement, whether that be at the Staff Service Awards. We have our new Staff Appreciation Week. Over at UCI Health, we've seen also the treat cart rounding going around to different departments. If you're interested in participating in that and sharing in some of the spirit, feel free to reach out and sign up for that as well. We take volunteerism at all times for all of the events. UCI Health is also very well aware of the Arise Awards that we have going on, so we encourage volunteerism during that time. Enterprise-wide, we also have the staff picnic and the staff breakfast. It'd be great to get both of our ambassadors at campus and UCI Health together at some of these events as we try to continue and grow and promote the program in the united front. Next slide, please. And then I'll turn it over to Diane.
Thank you. Hi, I am Diane Hall. I oversee the engagement program on the campus side with Lyra, and really wanted to thank you all for joining again and growing and helping this program. Our goal is 75%, as Kathy said, and it is a lofty goal, but it's one that we believe we can achieve. And we feel like this is, like Kathy said, the year people want to help and want to speak up and have their voices heard. So we need your help. We need your help to reach the 75%, and this survey plays a critical role in how we measure engagement at UCI. Kathy covered a lot of this earlier, and you're probably going to hear a lot of times throughout the life of the survey, but it really is that important. It's such a valuable tool to help the organization, even at the team level, really identify our barriers, our strengths, and how we can help locally and enterprise-wide move forward to really a more engaged culture. And you play such a key role in this, in getting your coworkers, your colleagues, your peers to take the survey, get their voices heard, have them speak up. It really does help us act as a catalyst for engagement over the next 2 years. We get a lot of data enterprise-wide that we use to do programming, but more importantly than that, it provides your local level leaders the information they need to help you locally in your teams and your units. And really, one of the things we need your help with is helping the coworkers to understand why it's benefit to them. Really, yes, UCI wants the data. Yes, we want the information so that we can improve UCI's overall culture. But more importantly, we want to make your everyday work life better, and your environment and your engagement, personal engagement. And that is very much connected to you and your teams. So this really provides you and your colleagues an opportunity to have your voice be heard. Definitely always open. We hope that there's open lines of communication, but we know that that's not always the case for everyone. So this is an opportunity to really, unprecedented times that we are in, to have your colleagues and help them have a voice and speak up, to know that they're valued and that leadership is looking at this opinion and their voice really does matter. More than, I don't want to be too picky, but more than any other survey I know of at UCI, that our leadership looks at this from all levels. Direct supervisors and managers are looking at this, to organizational leaders, to CEOs, to the chancellor, and everyone throughout the organization really does look at this data and looks how we can change our engagement overall. So we want them to consider what's important to them, how they can feel engaged. We're really looking at, in the Q12, it focuses a lot on basic needs. And those are simple things of, do you have what you need to do your job? And do you know what your role is? And for a lot of us, our roles have changed over the past year. So this is a great opportunity to kind of step back and reflect on those basic needs. And are you having those needs met individually, and asking yourself these questions? I could have advanced the slide, but I was just talking, and so I didn't. So this is the slide that really, how it benefits to you. No one said anything either, so we're just gonna, I'm looking at another slide deck. So this is what we'll have there, and really just considering, why it's important and having time for people to reflect for their own and speak up on their voices. I will hand it over to Lyra, who's going to talk a little bit more on how you can help and specific resources for you.
Thanks, Diane. Hi, everyone. I'm Lyra, the engagement coordinator for campus. And in the following slides, we will take a look at how you can promote the staff engagement survey. As an engagement ambassador, you are truly an extension of our engagement team, really looking at how we can increase engagement at the local level. So we will look at how you can develop a local promotional strategy, really connecting with your leaders, act as a resource, celebrate success, and truly be an advocate for your team. Next slide. When developing a strategy, you know your team best and can develop strategies that you know would work best for you and your colleagues. So if you're on site, you might want to hang posters around common areas, hand out postcards and coasters, or you might want to promote the engagement survey at your team meetings or host an info session or distribute promotional materials through an email. So really you can develop your strategy based on what you know works best for your team and your environment. And I also would recommend really connecting with your local leaders, and you can develop your strategy with them as well and partner with them when you hand out your promotion materials, and really encourage your staff to take the survey. And we have some resources such as leader speaking points and a local leader email template as well that they can utilize as well. And we also have a sample promotional idea list with a lot of fun different activities and incentives to help encourage your teams as well to take the survey. Next slide. And all of these resources and more are all on the 2021 Staff Engagement Survey Toolkit. So this webpage will include all of our meeting recordings and slides, survey planning calendar, all of the different promotion materials, and Gallup guidance materials. We are still currently building out the webpage, but everything will be linked over the next few days. And here we also have the engagement survey link and the Gallup Access website. So as Kathy mentioned earlier, you can log in with your net ID and you will have access to a variety of different engagement resources that you can look through as well. And it can also help you inspire and help you come up with different ideas as well as you promote to your teams. And if you have any questions, our engagement team contact info is listed on the last link as well.
And then speaking about being inspired and resources, each one of you can be a resource to each other as well. And so we really like to celebrate successes, and our teams will be sending out weekly updates and emails to the engagement ambassador units. And we'd love to see any pictures that you guys have to share with one another. We can recognize and celebrate each other's successes. Celebrate ideas, share strategies of how we can continue to promote and engage our teams in taking the survey, and just really be proud of your work and share it. This is why we're creating this as we're trying to create something enterprise united front so that we can all together reach our participation goal. And so the more that we can share and recognize our strategies and successes, the better we'll do all together. Next slide.
And finally, next steps. So as you leave here, we will be following up, if not by the end of today, definitely by Monday. We'll send you a follow-up email. And in that email, you will have links to the toolkit. And in that toolkit will be today's recording, the slide deck from today, and a lot of other resources that Lyra mentioned earlier, including the e-signature and the Zoom backgrounds we're using today. So we ask that once you leave here, maybe tomorrow, sorry, not tomorrow, today's Friday, maybe on Monday you start, you have a week before we hit the survey running. And so explore the staff engagement survey toolkit, add the survey e-signature and your Zoom background if you're using Zoom. And with the e-signature, there's a note in the toolkit, but I will remind you now here as well, you have to save it to your desktop or in a folder and then insert it into your e-signature. You can't copy and paste. And then in there, we also ask that you link it to the survey. So the instructions are in the toolkit, but when you have that in your e-signature, anytime you send an email, people will be able to click on it and get directly to our UCI specific survey so they can start taking the survey when it starts. And then we hope that you can plan your promotional strategy. Like we said before, you know your teams better than we possibly do. If you need a resource that you don't find in the toolkit or you have another idea, please reach out to either Lyra, Gretel, or myself, and we can help try to get you information that you need. But we got as creative as our hybrid work environment can allow this year with trying to do both hard copy resources that will get to you, virtual resources, and everything in between. So please let us know if you find anything you need. Also get your key leaders involved, and that's leadership at all different levels. Leader in your department, maybe that's not an ambassador, but you know is a natural colleague that acts as a leader. They can help you spread the word. Your direct leader, your leader's leader, and other leaders, work with them to help to spread the word. And it's always nice when your boss asks you to take something versus necessarily a CEO or a chancellor. It's great when they do, but it means a lot more coming from your team when you get together and really have that at that local level leader. And then distribute your promotional materials that we will be providing to you. So if you need hard copies, we'll get you those. We have virtual copies in the toolkit. And then make a plan for a survey break. And so the HRBPs have been tasked with this. We'll also task you with this. We will have an official survey break given on the day of the first Friday of the survey. So it's Friday the 13th. You can get fun and creative with that one. But we hope that you can plan a survey break for your team. We know that teams are in a different environment this year more than ever. So that survey break can be whenever is best for your team or individually. Doesn't have to be all at the same time like we've done in previous years. So plan something for that first Friday to get people to take that survey. And then don't forget in the resource toolkit, you will have a survey timeline with key dates to keep you reminded. You're going to be getting ongoing updates. As soon as we have them, we'll send emails regularly throughout the survey to keep you in the loop. Sponsored incentives and opportunities as they come, we will pass those along to you. And then we want to leave some time for some questions. We know we have some newer ambassadors, we have some very seasoned and veteran ambassadors. So I want to make sure you guys had enough time and opportunity to ask any questions of anybody on our team.
Diane, I was thinking that if Josh doesn't mind, maybe he could share what the themes for the treat carts will be. Because that might help people, spark some creativity or something with what they might want to do on their own teams. Josh, would you mind sharing that really quick with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Kathy. So we do have 4 weeks of the treat cart being themed. Our first week is pop in and take a survey. So we'll be purchasing quite a bit of items that go along with the pop theme. So maybe like pop rock candy, Boom Chicka Pop is like the biggest, most popular snack in the treat cart. Whenever we're at the medical center, it is insane how quickly the Boom Chicka Pop bags go.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll definitely be purchasing quite a bit of that. Skinny Pop, popcorn, push pops, all those type of things, keeping with that theme. On the second week, we have a s'more time to complete the survey. As cheesy as that sounds, we'll be filling up the treat cart with a bunch of more flavored items. I know there's a different like granola bars and different like components of a s'more that we'll have. So like graham crackers and chocolates and things like that. On the third week, it'll be take a break and take the survey. So we'll have, of course, plenty of Kit Kats. That ends up being always a favorite for our staff, along with plenty other fan favorites in that cart. And then finally, on the fourth and final week, it'll be crunch time. It's that last chance to take the survey. We'll have plenty of crunchy treats in the cart. So of course, crunch being one of my personal favorite chocolate bars, and then everything else that's really crunchy. So chips and goldfish and everything else that our staff really love. So that's what we're proceeding with so far with the theme.
Thank you so much, Josh. And I think that that can be translated into a lot of fun stuff just for campus teams as well. So thank you.
Okay.
Diane, do you want to take some of the questions that are coming in from the chat?
I lost my chat for a minute, so pardon me while I pulled
And
back.
Cassandra has her hand up.
Okay, yes. Cassandra?
Hi, I'm not sure if you can hear me. I'm actually new to the team this year and I work off-site. Do any of the activities or promotions, is that something that's going to be done at any off-site occasions? In the past, it has not been something that's happened, at least for me here in the Costa Mesa location. I know now in the last year and a half, there have been more departments that are more available in this location. So I don't know if that makes a difference or what, because that is something that I know that has been an issue for some in our area.
Gretel, Josh, do you want to speak to that as far as tree cart and some of the ambulatory sites?
I think I can, Diane. Cassandra, thank you for bringing this up. Actually, just last week, I was speaking with Doug Niedzwicki, who is the new executive director for ambulatory operations at the medical center. And we are coming up with a plan to ensure that we include our ambulatory locations in the tree cart rounding. I agree with you. It's really been mainly focused on hospital inpatient units. But, you know, we have rounded a couple of times at the FQHCs in Santa Ana and Anaheim, but certainly with the growth of our ambulatory locations, that has, you know, been part of the UCI health family, and we will ensure that we are rounding at those locations as well.
Thanks, Michelle. And we did have another question come in about departments with staff that are working remotely, an alternative for the treat cart for our remote workers. And, you know, we had to think long and hard about this one too on our team. So we did put in the toolkit, there's a list of different ideas and things. And we're going to ask you, we're going to push back on you and how we can need your help to get creative. So we put some ideas in the resource that we put in the toolkit with different things you can do. Virtually, you can do things differently. With treating, it's a little hard. It is. It's hard to be able to. You can't, you know, hand out things virtually. Depending on local budgets, I know that some teams already have some existing engagement funds. They've been able to do some types of fun things, branding things, and different resources to give out. But yeah. The treat card we really couldn't figure out how to translate that very well virtual. I don't know if Gretel or Josh, you had any other ideas you wanted to throw in there.
Not at this exact moment, other than some of those resources that I know that you're placing together for the engagement ambassadors. So that, yeah, unfortunately, as you mentioned, it is kind of difficult to translate the treat card into the working remote environment.
Yeah. We do have, you know, some teams that have been hybrid, and so they'll do things maybe for a full week or set something up in the full week in the office, so that when people come in or for different days or different shifts, they'll be able to have it and they didn't miss that one and done treat cart came and left. On the campus side, we have not planned a schedule like Josh is doing for the health side as far as rotation. We will have same treat carts available. So is that something you would like to help coordinate at a larger level? If you do have a lot of on-site people in your department on the campus side, definitely reach out to Lyra or myself, and we can help coordinate that with your HRBP. We do have the opportunity to bring it to on-site as requested, but we just don't know what that looks like for a lot of our campus departments. We don't have a lot of that information, so we need your help to identify those. Josh, you see the question about, are you gonna have any photos of your dog on the cart? Your dog's a superstar.
That's a wonderful idea. I will see how we can integrate his likeness into the promotions. But for right now, we don't have any plans for him to be on our postcards or coasters as of yet. We'll see. I'll see what I can do. Thanks, Christina.
And there's a question that I see about prior data and information. So we trained this morning your HR professionals, so your HRBPs, your HR professionals, and then next week we will be training your frontline managers and supervisors. They will have access to their 2019 data when they log into Gallup. They can actually do that now. So you can facilitate and help drive that conversation. Managers and supervisors can log in when they log in with their UCI and NID. If they had data from 2019, it is in there now. And we actually asked HR professionals, and we will ask our frontline managers and supervisors to do that prior to the survey, just to refresh their memory of what the data looks like, where they stood 2 years ago, and kind of have that backing along with a lot of other resources that are there. Definitely want to hopefully see improvements. The data is tied to them as a person, not the specific role. So if they were not in that role in 2019, they wouldn't have that data. You'd have to work with your HR person to go back to see who was in that role, their name, in 2019 to get that data. So I know that's probably a little bit more information. As far as a one-pager that can circulate it to help encourage us to your survey or completion, Kathy, we do have some printed materials, correct? I think, Josh, they're coming out on the treat carts. And so we have some other opportunities to get some of the printed materials out there.
Yes, we have coasters. They will look similar to, this is from another campaign, but they'll be similar to this kind of a thing. And those will be coming out, as well as a printed postcard. Sometimes it's just handy if people have it right in front of them. So we'll also work to get those distributed around the campus. So if you're an ambassador and you have people on site, please let us know so that we can get some number of these over to you as soon as they come in. That'll be, so we can get them to you the first week. So we'll have them next week. Regarding mailing printed materials to the home office, we can't mail to every individual who's working remotely. There's just not budget for that. But we can send it inter-office to your local, your campus or health sciences or medical center office, and then you can pick them up and distribute them from there. That we can do.
And we will have everything except the coasters electronically. I mean, I guess we could probably put a PDF of the coaster online, Kathy, and people can cut it out and print on cardstock if they wanted to. But we can
You
we can put them all. Well,
sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah.
I get a 4-inch circular punch, I guess.
Exactly. Give it to your kindergartners and practice their circle cutting. But yeah, so we will have all the materials, promotional materials will be available via PDF so that you can share them electronically as well.
So one thing about the ambassadors, Diane and Gretel, I know that we have engagement ambassador materials. Will they all be getting those materials, the pins and the things? Do we need to order some more of that? I'd really like them to all have that.
Yeah, I think Diane and I just need to further discuss, the badges that we had with the lanyards and then the pins and things like that. So we would definitely want our ambassadors to have that. We also would used to have stickers that people could put up in their offices, but we also now have the Zoom in case someone is staying, working remotely. That'll be kind of in lieu of the sticker to show and promo that. Diane, anything to add?
Yeah, and the follow-up emails after today, we'll start to onboard you and get you all that information. So we do. We have a little lapel pin. I believe we still have Josh. We still have the lanyard, real lanyards for health that have the engagement real lanyard. What are they called? Lanyard real. Help me out here. Michelle has
Badge
reels. Badge reels.
Badge
Like,
reels.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
lanyards and badge reels. It's Friday afternoon. Lanyards,
Thank
badge
you,
reels.
Michelle.
Pins that say engagement ambassador. So following this meeting, you'll be getting some information, some follow-up, some next steps. So yes, if you don't have those things, we'll be asking you to let us know and we'll work to get you those. Be patient with us because we know that we're trying to get things out and how we can mail things, but we will get those to you. So you have all the swag that you need.
And then Kathy, there's another question. You slightly covered this in your part of the presentation, and maybe you can highlight it a little bit more. Is there a list of changes implemented in the medical center based on the previous survey? I feel that a lot of people are discouraged from filling out the survey because they feel like it will not make any difference.
Well, there's a lot that has happened at the medical center as a result of the surveys. And there was some information on that slide that you saw. There's also a web page that you can go to if you go to hr.uci.edu and you go to programs and initiatives, scroll down that drop-down list and you will see Empowered to Make a Difference. The first sub-item under that is track implemented ideas. And that might not be the exact wording, but that's pretty much what you're going to see. And then that gives you a lot of information on what ideas have been selected and what ideas have been implemented. But there's an incredible amount of things that have happened at the medical center because of the engagement program. And if you need a list, I'm happy to also get together, you, me, Gretel, Josh, and we can go ahead and even put together a special document for you if you need it.
And then just another one that came through, how can we reassure people that this survey is 100% anonymous? I frequently get the feedback that it's definitely not anonymous and fear of backlash of completing it.
So I don't know, the urban legend and the fear factor is a difficult thing to overcome, but it is just that, it's urban legend. Gallup is administering the survey. No one at UCI, including me or including anyone who pays the bill, receives information on individual answers. It just, Gallup will not hand it to us even if we beg them to. So we never see it. All we see are the results, which are associated with teams and people leaders. If you have less than 4 people, results are not reported because it might be possible for someone to figure out who answered in what way. So we have a threshold. It has to be 4 or more individuals answering the survey in order for results to be given at all. If a particular people leader has less than 4, their results are rolled up into the next level up, so that that helps to protect anonymity as well. We can't tell them anything other than that. If this is probably disengaged people, unfortunately, that are going to fall into our 15 or less %, but we're not out to find out who answered what. There's been no examples of retribution from answering the survey. If there has been, somebody should let me know, because I can talk directly to the chancellor and Chad, for example. But yeah, I really just hope that they'll trust us at some point and believe it, because we don't see it. I mean, and I don't want to know, and I don't have time to go through everybody's individual answers. Remember though, the verbatim, they could answer something themselves. They could put something in there that will divulge who they are. And so they should be careful. We do put that in red, in big, letters, remember, as they're answering it. So hopefully they'll read that too. But yeah, if you need more help with that, let us know. We'll do our best to, maybe talk to the team and convince them. Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone. I want to end because I know we're a little bit over time. We will hang out if you have any more questions, so we can make sure we get all your questions answered, but I'll go ahead and let everybody go. We'll be following up with an email, so you'll have the slide deck and the recording. And as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us.
Thank you so much, everyone. We're so happy to have you help.